Hello everybody, and just here and welcome back to Puella Madoka Magica, episode 7. We have now officially entered the second half of the season, or, well, second half of the show, because it's not like there is Madoka Magica season 2. I know there is some, spin-off thing, perhaps more than one season of that. I know there is a movie in the works. I don't know if there's been another movie as well, but yeah, there is more to the franchise, but not more than this season to this particular story. Is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, we are halfway through, and the previous episode very much did feel like closing some chapter and opening a brand new one. We've learned many things about magical girls so far, before episode 6, right? They have cool powers, and they have henshins, and they need to clear their soul gems with grief seeds. What else? We've learned fairly recently that the kind of a wish you had has an impact on your powers, right? Like Sayaka's increased regeneration. Or the fact that Mami was using ribbons and forming them in flintlock guns. From what I heard in the comments, I think it was in the comments. Yeah, she's using ribbons because her wish when she was dying in that car crash was something along the lines of, I want to be tethered to life, or something like that, so ribbon tether makes sense. But what we learned in the previous episode, in episode 6, near the end of it, beats everything else, honestly. Because all this time we thought that, sure, it's not your everyday standard Mahou Shoujo series, anything but, actually. But some things stay kinda constant, right? Magical girls are magical girls, and they have some tools to use as weapons to facilitate their powers, right? It's either some sort of a scepter, or a magical wand, or a magical book, or a magical card, or something, and in this case it was some gems that kind of look like Fabergé eggs, but can also transform into rings, so that was what we were led to believe, and we were led astray, because as it turns out, those gems are the magical girls, and the bodies are just shells that are controlled remotely by the gems. The name Soul Gem is very, very, very literal. Their souls, their minds, their everything is enclosed within those gems, which is something I genuinely did not expect. Like, I expected many, many things of this show. Yeah, many things I feel like I might be onto something, right? Like timey-wimey shenanigans, maybe some timeline jumping, Madoka's wish maybe having something to do with fixing the fucky-wacky situation all of the magical girls find themselves into, or, all sorts of stuff, all sorts of theories that I had. But this is genuinely something that would not come to mind. Not in a million years I would have expected that. Sure, there was the scene when Kyuubey was turning Sayaka into Mahou Shoujo. Kyuubey pulled something out of Sayaka, formed it into a crystal. I misinterpreted it as Kyuubey pulling that something out, doing some mumbo jumbo with it, and then pushing it back into Sayaka. And I thought it might be something like, I don't know, pulling out her soul, imbuing her soul with Mahou Shoujo powers and putting it back in, because maybe it's easier than imbuing her soul while it's inside of the body or something. But no, it turns out the soul never returns. The soul just crystallizes into the Fabergé egg, and that's what Kyuubey returned to Sayaka. So yeah, it makes sense in retrospect, but who could blame me for not seeing that, honestly? And now we've also learned about Walpurga Night, Walpurgisnacht, or whatever it is, the night of Walpurgis, right? Which seems to be the night where the witches grow the strongest, and a lot of witches appear, and you can quickly score as many grief seeds as you can. So that's gonna be very interesting. The character of Kyoko also seems to be interesting, like more and more interesting. The previous episode really did change her and her approach and her relationship with the other characters, I feel. Because so far she's been placed in the position of an antagonist. She even scuffled with Sayaka a couple of times. But now she is kind of with us. Because what the fuck, Kyuubey, why did you not tell me that my soul is gonna be removed and placed in that gem? I would have never agreed, right? So now everybody is on the same page of being completely weirded out by the shit that Kyuubey pulled, and it very much seems like Sayaka and Madoka uh, and what were their names? Sayaka, uh, Kyoko, Madoka, Homura. Everybody's more or less on the same page. The page being, what the fuck, Kyuubey? So, that gives me hope that Kyoko might join us in one capacity or another. Sure, they have their differences, but maybe we can set them aside for now to figure out what the fuck do we do with the fact that we're not ourselves, we're the eggs. And yeah, some people pointed out that Mami's crystal, the soul gem or whatever, was on her head. It was on like the bow she had on her head, so her being decapitated probably destroyed the soul gem, so she's probably dead for good. It seems to be a very good reason, a very good idea to just leave the gem outside of the witch world, perhaps. It has like 100 meters range, so if they knew about it, they could like safeguard themselves. So it's not great of Kyuubey to not inform them of that, because if they were informed of that, they could have like protected themselves better and be better at being magical girls. So it really didn't serve anybody. It didn't serve them. It didn't serve Kyuubey. Assuming Kyuubey's goal is actually helping eradicate the witches and not something more nefarious. We can't know that for sure. This creepy little fuck with its red creepy eyes is up to something, but I don't know what that something might be. The fact that it feeds on grief seeds that it imbues through its back, that's weird enough. Especially now that we know that the grief seeds pull something out of the soul, essentially. So Kyuubey is kind of feasting on bits and pieces of the souls of magical girls. And yeah, it's interesting. So how about now we finally start watching it? How does that sound? I'm gonna give you your subs. You're gonna need them to follow along. I'm gonna grab my sound for a moment. I thought the cable was missing somehow, but no, thankfully it's not. And I'm gonna have to ask you for your support, as usual, on Patreon or Throne monetarily. You can get early access to Madoka, to Symphogear, to stuff like that. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, share my content, spread the word. It really does help a lot to grow the channel. And with that out of the way, I'm gonna reset my camera real quick because I see there's like a little bit of a delay, maybe. Okay, that should maybe be a little better. I don't know. I mean, I'm using my phone as a camera, so don't expect like splendid quality of that. Okay, now we can finally start watching episode 7 of Puella Madoka Magica in 3, 2, 1, go. What kind of fucky wacky shenanigans are gonna happen today, I wonder? Yes? So it was a lie of omission. because you wouldn't have agreed. I guess. I mean, there is sense to that, for sure. Here comes that pain. Okay, so Kyuubey can control them to a degree by using the gems. Interesting. Okay. Maybe stop torturing her now, though. I mean, again, not incorrect. That's the thing about the deal with Kyuubey, right? Nothing it says are lies. And if you look at it through like a purely pragmatic standpoint, it all actually makes sense, right? Protect your soul so that your body can regrow eventually. It makes sense, right? Kind of as if, I don't know, put your brain in a jar and leave it at the base of operations and then send your body controlled remotely to fight, right? Makes perfect sense to do that. That's the creepiest part about it. That you can't argue with the logic, really. But only if you completely discard the ethics and the feelings. Right? The logic itself, the pure logic, is sound, but it completely disregards any sort of ethics. And it really does contribute to the feeling that Kyuubey is something otherworldly. It has zero understanding of humans. Absolutely zero. Also, important thing, it's able to use these soul gems to inflict pain onto the magical girls. At least as far as we know. Perhaps it's also able to do other things. Hmm. Right, and her soul gem is also getting a little bit dirty. So she could use a grief seed, couldn't she? I wonder what happens when the soul gem is completely corrupted. I mean, I don't blame them. Because he's a creepy fuck. Yeah, exactly. Exactly what I've been saying. Yeah, it was. Exactly. The wish did come true. Probably not. Yeah. Once a Mahou Shoujo, always a Mahou Shoujo. Yeah, she's also inside of the gem. And she knows that. Kyuubey? Oh no, Kyoko. Hello. That's a lot of apples. Do you intend to go on a fight with a bunch of doctors, or...? Interesting that Madoka and Homura had a discussion in that very sterile white rooftop, and they're having the discussion among nature. I mean, she's not wrong. What's that place? An old abbey? Temple? I guess not. Oh, has Kyoko Wish had something to do with starvation? Was she like an orphan on the streets, starving, and that's why she's always eating, always has some pocky or some apples or something with her? Is that her deal? Okay, so we're getting some backstory on her. And he was burned at the stake for his heresy. Okay, I guess not quite as drastic as I thought. Yeah? Okay, so starvation. So what did you do? Yeah, but everybody looks super creepy. I don't blame him. I mean, that's kinda what you did. And you're the sole survivor. Okay, and so did Sayaka. She also made a wish for someone else. And that also explains why Kyoko gives no fucks about how many people are gonna die because of the familiar. All that matters for her are the grief seeds. Yeah, because you also made a wish for someone else. Yeah, there's some parallels between them. Yeah, Kyoko's approach really starts making sense now. Oh, you're gonna regret that very soon. I have a feeling. Or maybe it is the rare moment of hope. Hard to tell, really. It could be foreshadowing despair, or it could actually be a moment of hope. Stolen? At least it kinda stilled Sayaka's resolve, I guess. She's no longer having a pity party. She resolved to do the most she can with being a magical girl. Although I'm gonna be honest, I don't exactly get the tension between Kyoko and Sayaka after this whole exchange. I might have missed something or misinterpreted something or whatever, but I really don't see the tension, the reason, the cause for the tension between them. I guess because Sayaka refuses to be selfish and Kyoko refuses to be selfless. I think that might be it. Oh, he's going back to school. Why the crutch, though? Something wrong with his leg as well? Oh, okay, I guess something wrong with his legs. Watch him find a girlfriend now. Or watch her unwittingly destroy their relationship because she refuses to interact with him for some reason. Watch her profess her love to Kyosuke. Is that gonna be it? I'm actually Kyosuke-kun's girlfriend! Of course! Uh... Yeah, it's not like I sacrificed my whole life for his sake. But now, but now we are also love rivals. She probably won't. Or she will, and she will be rejected. And that's what happens when you make a wish for someone else's sake. Not just for someone else's sake, but with underlying selfish reasons. Which is like a double whammy. I mean, that's just how Madoka is, really. She's kind to everybody. I mean, not without reason. Oh, about that. I thought it was about uh, wishing for Kyosuke's betterment. I mean, not if you do something. Confess? Okay, I mean, I see her thinking here. I mean, your lips aren't cold yet. I'm assuming you have a normal human temperature. Which? I guess she's not gonna confess. Hello, Homura. What you doing here? Okay, so you can tell that by looking at Elsa Waria. You can tell by looking at the portal or whatever it is. How the battle is going. Is this one like inspired by shadow theater, like shadow puppets? Seems to be. Every fight, every witch world is inspired by some genre of art, some kind of art. This one seems to be shadow puppets. Hello, Kyoko. Kyoko to the rescue. And that's gonna be your downfall. If not physical, then mental. Right, she gives no fucks about her body because she's like super familiar with the knowledge that, yeah, she went mad. Which makes her very efficient at fighting, but not very efficient at being a human being, which is the price to pay. Okay, I guess I already have a title for today's episode, Sayaka's Downfall. Because that's like exactly what it is. Today's episode, Sayaka's Downfall. Starting from the realization that she's no longer a human, then going through the whole thing of kind of wasting her wish, so to speak. Although I don't think she looks at it that way. And then the realization that she's just a gem and her body's just a tool kind of not overwhelmed her, but she started making use of it. And that power felt very, like, intoxicating. That's the vibe I'm getting, right? Oh, you're right, I can just turn off my pain receptors. You're right, even though my legs and arms are broken, I can still fight. It feels good to be able to do that. I want more. That's the vibe I'm getting here. Okay, who was an idiot? Sorry, I'm having trouble discerning voices. Who says which line? I think the last line was Homura. Not sure though. Yeah, today's episode was really Sayaka's downfall. So how about we watch this train wreck of the character? Not in like a negative sense, but it was a little bit of a train wreck the way she continued to go down, spiraling down. It's entertaining, not like pleasing, but entertaining for sure. So again, let's go through it again, shall we? Hmm. And yeah, Kyuubey makes sense, but again, only if you completely and utterly disregard any sort of ethics and any sort of like understanding of what should I call it? Understanding of human nature, right? I still fucking hate what's going on with the subs here. That the character is speaking here, but since the subs never started there, I can't see the subs. I don't know. Does anybody have a version of those with the subs being like hard coded or something? Maybe I'm gonna try to hard code them myself because it's really driving me nuts not being able to see the subtitles half the time. And yeah, again, Kyuubey isn't wrong about anything here. Would it have bothered her if she didn't know? No, it wouldn't have. Is your body a collection of neurons and cardiovascular system? Yes, it is. It's just a flesh golem that our souls possess. And yeah, form which you can pick up and protect with your own hands. If your body dies, then the soul just dissolves. If your soul has a different housing, then even if your body gets destroyed, your soul lives on. Again, makes perfect sense. Especially for someone who's supposed to be a fighter, a warrior, right? Protecting their very life, their very essence, makes perfect sense. I'm playing Punishing Grey Raven. It's a gacha, and there's kind of sort of similar thing there, where humans are very like fragile and susceptible to the virus that's spread all over the earth. So they modify humans into pretty much complete cyborgs, I think. It's not like partial, it's like complete android bodies they're getting, and their consciousness is uploaded somewhere in the cloud or whatever. Girls Frontline is going for a fairly kind of sort of similar theme, at least the AR squad and the other 16 labs, those. It's a fairly common theme, right? Flesh is weak. Ever since I noticed the frailty of flesh, I crave the certainty of steel, right? Praise the Omnissiah and all that jazz. So it's not an unheard of theme, and that's all the more reason why it makes sense. Human body is fragile. Human soul is as fragile as the body is. But what if we give the soul some armor and treat the body only as a flesh golem? And yeah, you can battle witches with greater safety. Absolutely. Everything makes perfect sense. And yeah, you can turn off the pain. Or you can turn it on. If... This is like another example of Kyuubey absolutely being completely detached from anything human. We've seen examples before, but it was mostly about like ethics and the understanding of human mind, that humans don't want to be just eggs, they want to be themselves, right? But it was mostly on like a very metaphysical and psychological level. So you could forgive um, a, a creature of a different species to not know about those things. But here we have something very physical. Kyuubey doesn't give a fuck about inflicting pain, right? And this is something completely different. He sees, or it, or she sees Sayaka being in pain. It knows that it inflicts that pain. It probably knows that the pain is a fairly unpleasant feeling, and yet it continues. Because it most probably doesn't even have the concept of pain, maybe doesn't have the concept of something being unpleasant, doesn't have the concept of really anything human. Not physical, not mental, not psychological, not emotional, nothing. The only thing it has a grasp of that is human is the language. And even then, I suspect it's not like using words, it's just transmitting ideas into the other people's heads so that these ideas take shape in their minds. It's like the third time I think I mentioned that a very common way of creating a universal translator, be it in sci-fi with some device or in fantasy with some magic spell or crystal or whatever, is that the translator sends thoughts, sends ideas. It doesn't deal directly with words, but rather with ideas. You speak apple, and you have in your head the essence of what an apple is. And that essence of an apple is what gets transmitted into other person's head. And they understand the essence of it, not the word itself. The word remains meaningless to them. And I have a feeling that it might be something like that. That Kyuubey is completely and utterly detached from anything human, physical or not. And it continues monologuing as Sayaka is writhing in pain. Pain inhibition was the only reason he remained standing to the end against Kyoko. Probably. And yeah, you can apparently turn off pain receptors completely, even. But that leads to, like, slowing you down. Yeah, in time you can even learn to completely cut off pain. Again, I have to go to, like, Punishing Grey Raven a little bit, because there's a similar concept there. Constructs, they're called. They can turn off their pain receptors because they are machines, but since they are powered by a human mind, and not feeling pain isn't human, they slowly start losing their humanity. And they can completely succumb to that if they turn off their pain receptors for too long of a time. And again, a fairly similar concept, except there is machines, and here the role of a machine is the body. Because really, what else is a body if not a flesh machine, right? A flesh golem, a flesh cyborg. This shot is super creepy. You had a wish important enough to commit yourself to a life of battle, did you not? She did. Again, not incorrect. Not incorrect whatsoever. And yeah, her gem is starting to fade a little. She could use a grief seed or two. We are back to the sterility of the rooftop. Although, again, it's not quite sterile. It's sterile in colors, not in shapes, which is interesting. Because we have the classrooms that are completely sterile. We have the land between the witch world and the real world, the industrial scenes that are very rich in shapes, just like this scene is, but also very rich in color and in patterns, textures. I don't know what the significance of it is, really, but in general, it seems like sterility is associated with the school, and maybe a little bit with like home life, kind of, sort of, although not exactly. No, home life is mostly solar punk-ish. The industrialness is associated with the world between worlds, the step between the world of humans and the world of witches. The nature is always associated with their walk to school, from the coziness of a home to the sterility of a school classroom. Again, I'm not completely sure about the significance. Maybe there's none. Maybe those are just cool environments, and that's genuinely it. But did you know? Yes, she did. Why did you not tell us? Because nobody has ever believed me. And yeah, I'd just say it was an appropriate payment for bringing about a miracle. Also, nobody would ever believe me. It really does tell me that Homura is a time traveler or a dimensional traveler or some sort of a traveler, and she's been through it time and again. And she herself learned about the nature of Mahou Shoujo in like the 17th iteration she went through. By the time 23rd iteration came, she told about it to Sayaka and Sayaka and Madoka, from the very get-go, from the very onset, and nobody believed her, and now she doesn't even bother because she knows how it's gonna end. That's the vibe I'm getting. And yeah, that's not fair. Well, Kyuubey did fulfill its end of a bargain. And no, Sayaka won't be able to go back to her normal life. And yeah, Homura herself is such a being. It's interesting to me the like very often they repeat that no, it's impossible completely. Give up on her. No, it's not gonna happen. Absolutely no chance. Because it kind of starts growing in me the feeling that maybe there is a chance after all, and Homura is simply jaded. I mean, she is jaded for sure, but I'm not sure about the like chances for it. It's weird because the more they ensure us that there is no way for Sayaka to ever go back to being a normal human being, the more I find it, the more I find myself thinking the contrary. Hmm. And I think it has to do with the wishes. We don't know the limit of wishes, right? Like, could you wish for someone else's wish to be cancelled? We don't know the limits of that. And there seems to be no limit. A wish can mass mind control huge amounts of people. A wish can save someone's life. A wish can completely fix someone's arm. A wish can do anything, right? If someone wished for the end of all wars, there would be eternal peace on Earth. Probably. It would probably get fucked up in some weird way because it's not a wish for their own sake, it's the wish for the sake of other people. So eternal peace on Earth would probably lead to, I don't know, stagnation or something. There probably would be some downsides, let's be honest here. Uh, we don't know the limits of wishes. So it makes me think that should Madoka wish for Sayaka to be normal again, for uh, for the price of her own non-normalcy, that could happen. If Madoka wished for magical girls to never have to be placed in their soul gems or something, that would probably have happened. We don't know the limits on the wishes, is what I'm trying to say. So technically, anything could be solved with wishes. Anything anybody says that it's unsolvable, it can't be taken back, it cannot be fixed. No, absolutely not. There's the potential for a wish to be able to solve that. And I have a feeling that the reason we're holding off so long from Madoka becoming a magical girl is because her wish will bear a lot of significance. Because her wish will be wholly and entirely fully educated. She knows the lives of magical girls in and out. She knows of all the dangers, she knows of all the downsides, she knows of everything, and so she will be able to formulate her wish in a way that solves all the issues. Right? Kind of like with a genie wish. You wish for something, and you can't be sure how the genie will interpret it. So you kind of have to keep adding some clauses to your wish, and the genie will try to work around them. And it's only when you know all of the like workarounds, uh, all of the things that the genie can screw with your wish, can you formulate a wish that cannot be screwed up with. And it seems like Madoka is learning on everybody else's mistakes. Yeah, yeah, I think that's what we're going for here. Because we know for sure, 100% certain, Madoka will become a magical girl. We know that she doesn't have a wish except being able to help people. We know that she knows all of the downsides of being a magical girl. So the decision to become one can't be just willy-nilly. It can't be, I want a new Xbox and I'm willing to become a magical girl for that. No, it has to be something very, very significant. It has to be either some death in family or her friends being in danger or something like that. Perhaps even more. Perhaps even a wish to, I don't know, save the world or something. Uh, and one such significant wish would be reverting all of that and making magical girls not, like, not inhuman anymore. Making them live better lives and whatnot. Or maybe it could be something else. Maybe Madoka's wish will genuinely end up being, I don't know, I want to save Sayaka-chan, or I want to have enough power to kill the witch boss to end suffering, or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. But again, the fact that we keep hammering in the fact that this cannot be reverted, and the fact that we know the wish could potentially be reverted, leads me to believe they're going for a little bit of a subversion of, you thought it can be reverted? Well, it can be. Although I might be speaking out of my ass completely. Let's continue. Kyoko. And yeah, they're having a discussion walking through nature. Which so far seems to have been reserved to just their walks to school. You regret what was done. Indeed, she does. It's not really something I regret. If you live only for yourself, everything you do is your own fault. Yeah, that's the thing with wishes as well. That's why wishing for someone else's sake isn't great, because you don't have control of that wish. Right? You can wish for someone to be wealthy, and it turns out it's gonna bring them grief. You can wish for someone to, I don't know, raise back from the dead, and it can cause some other issues. When you wish for something for your own sake, you are the sole person responsible for that wish. You are the sole person that this wish impacts, and you can deal with that better. Makes sense. Everything you do is your own fault. Indeed. Her father's church. And yeah, that's the moment when it instantly clicked to me that something about Kyoko has to do with starvation. Yeah, don't waste food. Don't ever waste food. I can relate. I can relate. I remember the days of watering down one instant ramen soup to feed 3 people at our household, and eating bread with margarine and sugar, if there was sugar at home, for breakfast. Those were fun times, and until this very day, I can't unlearn the habit of like having to lick the yogurt container clear, or picking out the like spices left on the inside of a bag of chips, picking it off with my finger, and even sometimes cutting open the package to lick it clean. I can buy myself another bag of chips, but I can't get rid of that. And I get Kyoko. I get Kyoko. Don't ever waste food. I get it, girl. Fully and entirely. Yeah, the story about her father. Her father wanted to do good, but doing good goes against the church. Because, of course. Because why should we give money to the poor if we can build another golden statue of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, and if we can place silver and platinum tiles in the bathrooms of another, whatchamacallit, a basilic or temple or whatever you want to call it, right? So of course he would be shunned. Of course he would be like thrown away, excommunicated, and whatnot. Because helping the poor, no, no, why? Why would we do that? It's not a religion. No, absolutely. Uh, yeah, sad story. My dad wasn't saying anything wrong. Yeah, he probably was saying some actually good things. He probably did have some genuinely good ideas at fixing the world. Problem is, you assume that other people want to fix the world. You assume that other people don't want the status quo. It's very often that even the people who are being hurt by the status quo would rather retain it than change things, even if that change would be for the better. Kind of a whatchamacallit. The whatever syndrome when you're kidnapped and you form attachment to your kidnapper, right? We all know the name except me because I kind of lost it. But yeah, that kind of deal. It's like very common. For example, in abusive relationships, you see, I don't know, some dude punching his girlfriend in the face. You walk in, try to push the dude away, and then his girlfriend attacks you. Right? Many stories such as this, and that's what constant abuse does to you. You eventually learn to protect your abuser. You grow accustomed to the abuse. You don't know anything more. You don't know anything better, and it works even on the scale of an entire society. Right? Society gets us used to abuse so much that some people are just don't know anything better, and they are afraid of change. Being afraid of change is very universal in humans. They would rather keep living their pitiful but somewhat stable lives than risk some uprising, and that can do good, but it also can do bad. So I'd rather keep doing what I'm doing. I'd rather keep living from first to first than do anything better about it. And this example really shows us that it's not just that the church excommunicated him, it's the people themselves who weren't willing to listen. Even though his ideas were genuinely good, even though he genuinely wanted to better the world. Although we don't know that, we don't know what his ideas were exactly. He could have very much sounded like a complete and utter nut job, preaching about eating the rich literally and culling the world's population in three, like retaining only 1/3 of human population and whatnot to fix the world and what have you. There are people who are kind of like coming out of with who want to do good, but their ways of doing good are kind of disagreeable. So he could have been one such a person. We don't know that. We don't know the details. So I'm not going to be assuming. Couldn't stand it. Yeah, I couldn't bear the fact. I'm assuming that's the symbol of their god. When Kyoko henshins, isn't there something like that opening on her chest? A gem that looks like an eye? Yeah, I think that's a part of Kyoko's henshin, actually. I'm not sure, I would have to watch Kyoko's henshin again, but I have a feeling that's the case. And yeah, she made the wish to bring people in. She was fighting witches from the shadows, so she was fighting evil from the shadows, and her father was fighting evil from the light, from the church. Fucking subs, I swear on me, mom. Yeah, one day my dad found out what was going on. Okay, that's where we're at. He completely lost it when he realized all his followers were only there because of magic, and I honestly don't blame him. Like he was happy that, oh yeah, people are finally listening. People finally see the point, right? They're coming here, and we can actually do something. We can build something. We can start a revolution. We can eat the rich. And then it turns out no, they were all mind controlled, and they were just tasked with coming to your church and listening to you, not exactly doing anything more. That has to be a bummer, like, for sure. Makes me wonder what would Kyosuke do if he learned that his arm was healed at the cost of Sayaka's life, essentially. Would he lose his marbles as well? Probably. Probably. If he is half as attached to Sayaka as Sayaka is attached to him, he'd be like, no, fuck it, cut the nerves in my arm, I don't want it. I'd rather you lead a normal life and I never play fiddle again than me being able to play and you risking your life. I have a feeling that would have gone. And yeah, he killed himself and his whole family except for Kyoko. And her wish destroyed her entire family because it wasn't a wish for her own sake. And because it wasn't a wish for her own sake, she couldn't have predicted the results. That's the risk with wishing for the sake of other people. Because I made a wish for someone else without knowing what he really wanted. Yeah, exactly. He didn't want people to come there and just listen to him and go back. He wanted to actually change those people and change the world. And just blind listening wouldn't achieve that. And yeah, I can very much see Sayaka's character, why she is the way she is. She swore to never use magic for others again, only for her own sake. She grew bitter and disillusioned with other people who ignored her father and didn't want to listen to him, so she doesn't give two fucks about the other people. So sending out a familiar to kill other people isn't beyond her, because are those people really worth saving? They could have been saved if they listened to my father. They didn't. So, fuck them? Yeah, makes sense. Her character really does make sense after all this bit. I'd use my powers only for myself. Why are you telling me this? Because they're similar, because you also made your wish for the sake of someone else. You came to realize my mistake, but you're still making yours. Indeed. And yeah, it served to steal Sayaka's resolve. Yeah, I don't believe I paid too high for a price. Too high a price. She still doesn't regret the fact that she healed Kyosuke. Although that might change if the girls can't love girls girl steals him from her. I have a feeling. How'd you get those apples? That's a good question. Probably stolen. That's my bet. She doesn't look like she's working. In that case, I can't eat them. Yeah, that I'm not quite getting. Like, sure, Sayaka in the end disagreed with Kyoko. She understood her point of view, but ultimately she disagreed, and that's like perfectly fine. So why is Kyoko so mad about it? Or is she mad about Sayaka rejecting her offering of an apple? Could be it. There's no one else like us. She's not wrong. Well, yeah, Sayaka is gonna continue fighting her own way, and that's not gonna be great. because fighting her own way apparently involves her losing her mind. And yeah, she doesn't want to talk to him for some reason. I don't know. Did she grow? No, wait, sorry. I know. She doesn't believe that she's worthy of him because she's a zombie, because she has cold lips and she's dead, and yada 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 yada. Even though it's not really the case, she probably still has like regular pulse like every other human. She probably still has high body temperature. It's just her soul that's inside of the gem. She's not like literally controlling a corpse. Her body still functions, it bleeds, it moves, it pumps blood and whatnot. So, but of course, I know that she went through something super traumatic, and she's not exactly gonna be thinking clearly. And this kind of came out as a surprise, kind of not. I was fully expected Kyosuke to be taken by someone else, like, absolutely. I've been talking about it, I think, ever since we've met Kyosuke, and ever since the possibility of healing him with Sayaka's wish appeared, that, yeah, she's gonna heal him, and he's gonna end up with some other girl. And what you know, it's exactly what might happen. Yeah, at least she's open about it. She's not hiding anything. Little fucking green blob. At least she's fair. And yeah, you're close, so I'm gonna give you first dibs. Right, you have a day. Confess to him. If Kyosuke ends up reciprocating your feelings, that's fine. I'm gonna remove myself, no hard feelings. If Kyosuke rejects you, then I'm gonna step in, like, sorry, but I have to, right? I can't lie about my feelings. Very fair, right? Like, extremely so. Very, very fair of her. I like her. Yeah, I don't want to steal him. You get first dibs. Did she at least finish her coffee? Or tea? She didn't. Why is it a running theme in Madoka Magica with people ordering a beverage and never taking even a sip of it? Do they just want the drink on the table for the drama? Probably. And yeah, right. How can I love Kyosuke? How can Kyosuke love me? I'm gonna lose Kyosuke to Hitomi. How can he ever love this dead body? How can he ever kiss this cold lips? And Kyoko is also behaving in a very fair way here, right? It's not a familiar, so I'm not gonna interfere. It's a witch. Witches is something that we hunt. We don't hunt familiars, so I would have stopped her if she was fighting a familiar, but she's fighting a witch. Good on her. She was there first, so I'm not gonna involve myself unless she needs help. I'm just gonna watch. I like it. She really is not, well, kinda an antagonist, but not an asshole antagonist, I guess. Kinda, sorta. And yeah, the Shadow Theater. Just fighting, getting beaten up. And I think that's blood on her legs. I think that's blood. Yeah, so she's already battered. And yet she jumps in, she gets beaten up even further, and she laughs in the face of it. She lost her marbles. I really am dead. I really can't feel anything. And that feels great. That feels empowering. I can do anything. Right? Like, there was even a scene where she wasn't using the blade of her sword, she was just using the guard to pummel the witch. Yeah, here. She's not cutting, she's just smashing. If I just touch myself, I don't feel any pain. And the creepy smile on the black face only bright white smile. That's like the most common visual representation of creepiness that you can get in anime, in manga, in comics, in anything. Complete face completely obstructed with shadow, only white smile. That's universal. She went mad. Mad. Not just mad because she's slapping that witch with the guard, but mad like fully mad, lost her marbles. Please stop. Something tells me she's not gonna. Also interesting that oh, okay, I guess cast has like 2 people listed for each role because it might be like, I don't know, Japanese VA and English VA. Oh, not sure. Effetti, montaggio, registrazione. That sounds not Spanish. Maybe Spanish? No, that sounds Italian. Alessia Amendola, che arriva, Veronica Pucchio. That sounds Italian. Is it like rips from Italian release or something? Testi, musica, arrangiamento, animazione, sigla da chiusura, magia calafina, regia episodo. Or are they like, I don't know, going for the whole Puella Magi, like Italian themes out of nowhere in a Japanese show? I don't know, I'm not sure. Una produzione. And that's a cool little scene. I won't be like the rest of you magical girls, probably. I don't need any reward for my work. I'll never use magic for my own benefit. I really was an idiot. Who was an idiot? I don't know. I don't know whose voice was that. Maybe Homura's, maybe someone else's. Ah. Okay, that was episode 7 of Madoka Magica. And it seems like there really is no episode that would have a downtime. There's no slow episodes, there's no filler episodes. I thought that after the excitement, quote unquote, of the previous episode, we're gonna see just a little bit of downtime, maybe a little bit of introspection, maybe a little bit of talking. All of the magical girls gathering at a McDonald's, ordering some milkshakes and talking about the situation, or, you know, something along those lines. But no, we keep descending into madness. We keep breaking people constantly without stopping. The news didn't break Homura because she already knew about it. The news didn't break Kyoko because she doesn't give 2 fucks. It did break Sayaka in the end, though. I have to wonder what broke her in the end. Is it actually the news about her not being fully human? Or is it the potential loss of Kyosuke? Or is it a combination of the two? I have a feeling that if not for the information that the green blob is planning to take Kyosuke from her, she wouldn't have broken this much. She would have maybe worked through her grief, but because so many things coincided, she just broke completely. And yeah, I guess that's what happens when you make wishes for the sake of someone else. That's how you end. It never has a good ending. Which makes me wonder, assuming my theory that Madoka is gonna have some final wish that fixes the whole issue, that's gonna be a wish for the sake of other people. How's that gonna backfire? Is that gonna backfire? Is Madoka gonna sacrifice her life to save the other magical girls or something like that? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't want to speculate about it because I don't know if it's gonna be true in the first place. So, what's the point? But yeah, regarding today's episode, I grew to understand Kyoko a little bit more. Initially, I thought of her to just be an asshole, Now she's an asshole, but she's justified in her assholery, so that's a change. And what else? What else? Right, of course, Sayaka's descent into madness. That's, I think, the most significant part here. And the fact that Kyosuke is actually gonna get stolen from her, probably, or probably, maybe, perhaps there's a chance that he's gonna get stolen if she doesn't do anything about it. And in the state she's in right now, I don't think she is gonna do anything about it. So he's probably gonna get stolen, quote unquote. I think I predicted that before. That actually, I don't have to think. I can just check. I think I have it somewhere in my notebook. Meduka Meguka. Kyosuke going out with another girl, not Sayaka. QED. Although it hasn't come to pass yet, so we don't know. It's kinda... Maybe not interesting, but I would have expected Sayaka to regret using her wish for Kyosuke's sake and not regret saving the other girl. I didn't expect her to be quite this cruel. Although there are some really hard things going on through her head, she's dealing with some real fucking bad problems, so I don't blame her entirely, and she didn't like the fact that her mind went in that direction either, so I say she's absolved of that. But yeah, it's interesting how soon after mentioning that making wishes for someone else's sake has a price and can destroy you, your beloved, and everybody around you, we see an example of that unfold in front of our own eyes. Then again, I wonder if that's actually gonna be a subversion. It might be. Madoka Magica is very using subversions very commonly. So I wonder if it might actually end up with Kyosuke declining the other girl, and then Sayaka confesses, and Kyosuke says yes. And Sayaka is fixed, she's no longer mad. Maybe. Or maybe he himself confesses to Sayaka. That could also be a possibility. Although I don't know how much I trust Madoka Magica to give us hope. After the last few episodes, I really don't trust it to give us hope. I rather see this show continue the spiral of despair, and maybe Kyosuke is gonna fucking die. Maybe even Sayaka is gonna kill him out of jealousy. It wouldn't surprise me. Like, no joke, wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And now we're gonna also have to deal with the other issue of the blood, not the blood moon, Walpurgisnacht, the night of the Walpurgis. So that's gonna be interesting because I'm assuming it's gonna be multiple witches attacking at once, or maybe some big bad witch appearing that they're gonna have to fight. And will they gonna be able to fight them? Kyoko and Homura, maybe they have a strained but professional relationship, right? Like, we might not like each other, but if push comes to shove and if more than one person is necessary to destroy a witch, we can cooperate and we can figure out what to do with the grief seed later. Right? Maybe I'm gonna use it to clean my gem, then I'm gonna give it to you so you can clean your gem, and that should about use it up. So we can figure it out. But Sayaka is kind of a wild card here. She doesn't want to work together. She doesn't want help. She wants to be a loose cannon, and now she also went mad with the realization that she's indestructible and invincible, untouchable, and she feels no pain. That's gotta fuck you up in the head real bad. Again, kind of a tie-in, not a tie-in, but comparison to Punishing Grey Raven, where turning off pain receptors also gets you fucked up in the head if you do that for too long. So, damn. Madoka Magica is really going places that I did not expect it to go. I was afraid. I was afraid that me knowing some bits and pieces, right? Some memes and stuff like that about Madoka Magica might have an impact on my enjoyment of it, or like that I would know most of what's going on, like tangentially. But I have a feeling that even if I was spoiled on half the things, there would still be things that were surprising. Like, even if I was spoiled on, I don't know, Mami's death or the nature of magical girls, this episode would surprise me. Sayaka's downfall, absolutely. That's cool. That's super cool, super interesting. And I can see why Madoka Magica is such a cult classic, despite being just 12 episodes, just a single season. Just a single season, and it's so beloved and so widespread. Uh, I think someone told me about it, but I don't remember. Was it Madoka who like kickstarted the trend of dark Mahou Shoujo shows, or was it Wixos? I don't know which one was the first, but I think if it was Wixos that kickstarted it, then Madoka Magica popularized it. If it was Madoka that kickstarted it, then well, no wonder. Hmm. Yeah, very very cool, and also kind of tiring episode because a lot has happened, like a lot, and I'm almost afraid of watching episode 8 next week because it can just continue spiraling down, and I'm like genuinely afraid of what's gonna happen. But at the same time, I can't like turn away from it. I can't stop watching because I need to know what's gonna happen. So I am gonna watch episode 8, don't you worry none, but I'm gonna dread the moment of pressing the start button for sure. But yeah, I don't think I have anything more to say about this episode, but maybe you do, and if so, let me know down in the comments below. What did you think of this episode? My reaction, my theories. No spoilers, please. I beg of you. Not for Madoka Magica, not for Magia Record, not for any other content, any other things in the franchise. I'm gonna be watching them all, or well, as many as I can. So don't spoil me anything of that. I'm gonna get to it sooner or later. If you wanna talk spoilers, Discord here and also in the description. There's Madoka Magica channel. It's fairly active, so you can use spoiler tags and talk about Madoka Magica there to your heart's content. Now, like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Madoka Magica, but also Symphogear GX, Yovka Shinouta, Overlord Season 4, Hataraku Season 2, Ruby Ice Queendom, and I also play some games sometimes. I sometimes stream, and fairly soon we're gonna be streaming my look at the next season of anime. We're gonna be streaming the concert of Symphogear, so you might wanna stick around for that, click the bell to be notified, and all that jazz. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or Throne, links in the description. On Patreon for $10 a month to get early access to non-seasonals like Madoka, like Symphogear, like whatever other non-seasonals will come after, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord, and you also get a place in the credits of every single video I put out. On Throne you can pitch in towards my purchase of a proper camera, better lighting, stuff like that. If the camera lagged in this video, I can't really do anything about it because it's my phone communicating with my PC with Wi-Fi, so great setup, but I can't use any better one, so hey, pitch in towards better camera or something if you want. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you can still help the channel a lot by sharing my content, spreading the word, because if you don't subscribe to the channel, maybe your friend will. If your friend doesn't support me on Patreon, maybe their friend will, right? Spreading the word, letting as many people know about the existence of it is really, really helpful. And besides that, of course, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And with all that shilling out of the way, I think we can call it a day. So that's gonna be it from me for today. And as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's the credits I mentioned before. You can be one of those people if only you so desire, and you don't need to be a Mahou Shoujo to fulfill that wish.